Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in again for second football edition of Comet Corner. Today obviously we've got Coach Tome here. Coach, thanks for taking the time to meet with us today. Last time we talked was beginning of the season obviously, and you were really excited about some impact players, and as anybody be excited at the start of the season. Had a couple tough road games to get going. And then a huge win, first home game on the turf at Farmers Bowl against St. Scholastica. And then had a tough one at Valley this past weekend going into homecoming. Almost at the midpoint of the season, I'd say. What have been the positives and the negatives so far throughout the first 4 games of the season?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the kids have competed well. You obviously start and go on the road, long road trip. The guys went through a lot of adversity and did a good job, but obviously came out on the wrong end of the scoreboard. Midland was one of those teams, going to be competing for the GPAC title. We go in down a score at halftime and then couldn't put 4 quarters together, and then obviously pleased at Scholastica. I think our kids have done a good job of weathering the storm. They've continued to come to work every single day. We've had productive practices. We thought last week was really our best week of practice and preparation. They keep fighting every day. They seem to be hungry, which is a good sign as a coaching staff. I think, really the only negative, and you could say being 1-3, there's a lot of negatives. I don't think we played a complete game, even when we played St. Scholastica. We haven't had the offense, defense, and the kicking game to be on the same page. When the offense is good, the defense has been bad. When they've both been good, we've given up something in the kicking game. So I think we've got to do a better job. We've got to simply say to get it fixed and get all 3 levels to understand the importance of every single down. And that's what we're trying to preach to the kids as we go through this. It is a process, and it's more than just a 60-minute game. It's any down within that game can cost you or benefit you. And right now it's ended up costing us a little more. So we got to get it fixed.
Yep. Well, obviously, I know you're not one to make excuses. Being on the road's always, a little bit tougher, I'd say, than a home game. And, you made those plays, you mentioned the record and that kind of thing. But, we've only had 1 home game. And, we'll dive in a little bit about homecoming this coming week, but focus on the St. Scholastica game a little bit. You made those plays down the stretch. I mean, obviously an awesome atmosphere, Farmers Bowl, first game on the turf, that was all phenomenal. But you guys made some plays down the stretch, and really, as you said, I haven't been on the road. I've watched some games on video, but you guys were able to put it together for 4 quarters and really stick with it against Scholastica. Who are the key members of that game, and why do you think they were able to put it together, and have some big plays down the stretch to get your first W?
Yeah, against St. Scholastica, we didn't start fast. Defense, I think we got down 14, or we gave up 14 first 2 drives. Offense answered. I mean, offensively, obviously, you've got Creighton Fowl, who's done a good job up until this point. Trent Momon's been a huge factor. The thing for me, I think you mentioned the team. We played complementary football. Mm-hmm. We possessed the ball for almost 39 minutes, rushed the ball 69 times for 276 yards. That's what we need. We've got to be able to run the ball. It all starts with the run. If you're able to run the ball, it opens up the passing game. I think since we've been here, we put so much on our quarterback, and I think some of our guys and even some of the fans, they look at Creighton and they say, oh, he can do it. Well, that's a lot of pressure for a 19, 20-year-old guy to put the weight of the world on his shoulders. So simply stated, we've got to be able to run the ball, and if we're able to run the ball, it's going to help the defense out because it's keeping us off the field. And that's not to say, you look at a box score and you look at yards being given up. We really care about points per possession. A team can have 700 yards, but if they score 20 points, they've had 15 possessions, that's really, you've kept them pretty inefficient. Right. So that's what we're trying to focus on. In the day of the spread offenses and team airing it out 50, 55 times a game, I think you need to look at those finer details than just what your typical person would say with a box score. It's really each down, like we talked about, is the important thing for us. So had a lot of guys who has stepped up, still need a lot more to come along if we want this thing to be successful going down.
Coach, you mentioned a few names, Fowl, Moman, a few of the other studs, I would say, that really have generated the ball on offense quite a bit. Has there been anybody since early in the preseason that, dare you say you didn't, not that you didn't expect a lot from them, but has really just come out and has been absolutely awesome, whether it's doing the dirty work, in the trenches on the line, or on the defensive end of the ball? Is there anybody that has really impressed you so far this year, that just brings it each day and has been really consistent for you these first few games?
Yeah, offensively, the guy who sticks out, or a couple guys, is probably Jake Hansen. He's a freshman from North Dakota that's really done a good job. He's been productive in the passing game for us. Really fundamentally sound when it comes to blocking, which is, I think, why we had a lot of success against St. Scholastica on the perimeter. Offensive line-wise, Stump Barnard, or Robert Barnard, a sophomore from Florida, his name pretty much gives him away.
He's a good kid.
Yeah. He's wider than he is tall, but he's really done a good job of trying to get everybody focused up on the O-line, and really had a great game against St. Scholastica. Defensively, we haven't talked about a lot of those guys. Week one, Josiah Walker, a freshman from New Jersey, wins the conference defense player of the week.
Yep,
so he obviously has continued to do well. I think he had 12 tackles against Valley or something like that. Ricky Flowers is kind of his teammate in the middle. One plays Mike, the other plays Will. He had 13 tackles, a tackle for loss this week against Valley. So they've done a good job. And then Austin Robb in the trenches has been one of those guys from Ada Borup. He's undersized, but he plays with a chip on his shoulder. One of the most, technically sound defensive linemen that I've ever seen play. He does things right, gets down the line, blows up pullers, leads us in sacks right now. And then in the defensive backfield, Tim Rooks has really been the leader. We're really focusing on building an identity on defense, and he's the guy who's really bought into it. And you always hear him chirping, hey, look for this, here's a down and distance, trying to get the guys in the right mindset. So Tim's done a great job, and we're still, as we practice every Sunday after we watch film, we're scrimmaging every Sunday with our guys who maybe didn't get as many reps in the previous game, because we're trying to find that depth. And obviously we were very impressed even yesterday with our defensive guys. We put the scoreboard on. We've got a grading system where offense can score and defense can score, whether it's in way of 3 and outs, turnovers, etc. And defense ended up getting a couple turnovers, took a fumble back to the house. So we have guys who are competing. Now we just need more of them. And again, it couldn't come at a better time for where we're at in the season.
And Coach, I'll tell you, obviously 1-3, you want that record to improve and continue to get better. With that said, and we talked a little bit about it preseason, but your schedule, is pretty stout. Doesn't do you a whole heck of a lot of favors. You've had some really tough out-of-conference games to start the season. Took one on the chin to Valley this past weekend, who's traditionally one of the better teams in the North Star. With all that said, it's still early, right? I mean, you're 0-1 in the conference. Big one coming up this weekend, homecoming. 2 o'clock, Waldorf. How's the chemistry of the guys? Do they understand there's still a heck of a lot of football to be played, and to I'm not even going to say turn things around, but keep things on the right path? I mean, you look at, and I wasn't here last year, so I don't want to speak too much, but you look at where we were last year and where we are this year, and obviously there's been improvement, and something that you can build on coming into homecoming this week.
Yeah. For our guys, like I said, I think they're still hungry. They understand, as we met yesterday, the old 24-hour rule. This game's flushed. We've already been focusing on Waldorf now for a little over 36 hours ourselves. So, the biggest thing for us right now is we talk about the process a lot. So we talk about your inner scoreboard. A lot of our guys, it's real easy to look up at the scoreboard and see what it is. We want you to focus on every single play. So when I say the down, it's every play within the game.
Yeah.
And, you've got to be able, i.e. against Valley, something goes wrong, a fumble happens, they get the ball. you now have to go out and play defense. You got to be able to flush it.
Right.
And so we're looking to still try to build some mentally tough kids. As we look to bring Waldorf in this week, extremely athletic football team, very good on offense. Defensively, they fly around. So it's going to be a great challenge, but for our guys, a great opportunity. And the one thing we've continued to preach to them, everything that we've envisioned at the beginning of the year is right there in front of us.
Right.
I don't know if there's going to be a team who's going to run our conference. So having that one conference loss, that is still there. And more importantly, the goals for us are more short-term right now. We have goals every single day that we're trying to attack and just have those little successes, because the more little things you're successful at, the success will come on a greater scale.
What are some of those little goals, Coach, if you don't mind? Just some some detail there, so our fans can know, like, what those day-to-day goals that obviously are huge for momentum and sticking together. I guess the glue. What would be some of those goals?
I mean, the first thing is show up on time.
Yeah.
So it starts on Monday. Their first thing they'll have with us is game plan meeting today at 4 p.m. We obviously got to be there. We got to be on time. It started with them going to class, so coaches were out checking class. Those are those little successes. Make sure you go eat. Make sure you go to the training room and get your treatment in. Then it'll start tomorrow at 7 a.m. Make sure you're on time for our film session, and then class, and then practice. I mean, all the little things that we do. Our kids, they understand the routine now, and
Good.
There's obviously a certain expectation, and you either buy into it or you're either not playing or you're not going to be with us very long. So our guys are doing a great job. Like I said, everyone talks about the chemistry. There's always frustrations when you're not winning.
Absolutely.
And that's our job as coaches, to understand it's my job to put those little fires out. And one thing we tell our kids, we don't need any locker room lawyers. This game is very simple. It boils down to blocking and tackling.
Mm-hmm.
We can run any scheme in the world, offensively and defensively. If you can't block and you can't tackle, you're not going to have success.
Yep.
So we're still, within every single day, working on those fundamental things that are going to make us better football players, better people in life. And so the guys are doing a good job. And like I said, from meeting with them earlier this morning, they flushed it. They're ready to go towards Waldorf. And again, you can, as a coach, see how much film they're watching. And the guys are definitely shifted their focus to Waldorf this Saturday.
Good. That's important. And obviously, like I said, not to keep dwelling on the victory, but they know what it's like to win that tight game now. You haven't been here but so long. That hadn't happened, right? So the fact that they were able to put it together, they were able to put that routine in their scope of play and get that W, I think does wonders, not just for the immediate win, but for the future as well.
Yeah, our guys, we told them kind of building up to it, and the talk was, y'all haven't won a game since 2016 against Dakota State. We don't get caught up in that. Everything we do on a daily basis prepares us for Saturday.
Yeah.
And I think obviously, that's why in this sport, you can't look down the schedule and, or we can't look down and say, every game for us is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And within it, for us, it's about what kind of attitude do we bring to our preparation for the week.
Right.
And that's a huge thing for our kids. They've got to understand, there's a goal to be accomplished every single day, and it starts with what we just talked about, and then it's being able to focus for those 45 minutes to an hour, and then when you get on the field for 2.5 hours. And, when you have those little successes, it's amazing the bigger things that come down the road. And, it could be as simple as we tell all our guys, wake up and do something successful.
Right.
Make your bed. And it sounds cheesy, but you start with a little success and you accomplish that, and it's amazing how much you can accomplish throughout the course of the day. And, again, I hate to keep saying it, but it is a process. We need to, and our kids look at it as it is a process. The result or the outcome is going to be determined by, what we do leading up to Saturday. It's not Saturday. That's the easy part. It's the Sunday through Friday. That's the tough part, that our kids are still getting, acclimated to the process, but a lot better than it was last year. So.
Good. Well, obviously Farmers Bowl crowd, win first game on the turf was an awesome atmosphere. I'm pretty new to town still, but I don't expect anything less for homecoming, right? Homecoming weekend, you got a lot going on. Have the Hall of Fame dinner. A lot of alumni obviously come back. I'm optimistic that there's going to be a great sense of urgency from the fans, the tailgaters, the community, the alumni, the players, the staff. I know I'm fired up. That's got to feel good as well, knowing that you're coming back home, to play a good Waldorf team. How much do the kids, you think, feed off of that energy? And I know that has nothing to do with what you just explained through preparation and what happens between the lines, but how much does that energy really, motivate and fuel the kids to try to go out there and get a W in front of their home crowd?
Yeah, I think it means everything. Obviously, they were probably shocked to see the type of crowd that we had at Farmers Bowl. I think that's a huge reason why the kids were able to close it out at the end.
Yeah.
It's been such a different, environment, atmosphere from the student section to, the tailgating. There's a different buzz. I think our kids are always fired up to come back and play at home.
Yep.
Obviously, it's a huge game, not only because it's conference, but it's homecoming. I believe Military Appreciation Day.
Absolutely.
A lot of things going on, but that's the challenge more than anything for us. Waldorf is Waldorf. We know what kind of team they are. We've got a lot of footage on them. I think the biggest thing is our kids being able to stay focused in the midst of everything that's going on.
Right.
That was the challenge for Farmers Bowl. You've got the parades and this and that. I got to sometimes remind them that,
you got a game to play.
There you go. You don't have everything else without what takes place between those lines.
Yep.
And I think our kids will be ready to go. Obviously, already the preparation that started, they're always fired up to play at home, and it's a good thing. In the remaining schedule, 3 of them are going to be at home. So we're always excited to have the routine where we get to sleep in our own bed. You're not on the road in a hotel and everything that goes along with that. So it's going to be an exciting time. Obviously, you mentioned the Hall of Fame. It's good to get the alumni back. We're going to have recruits on campus. So them being able to see that atmosphere is obviously huge for not only our football program, but I think for the entire university.
Great. That's awesome. And, Coach, I know you said you've gotten, a chance to flush down, turn around, and start looking at Waldorf. I know you haven't, I say a couple hours, 30 hours or so of starting to look at Waldorf. What do you think are going to be the keys to having a great game and hopefully coming out with a victory this weekend against the Warriors?
Yeah, I think first and foremost for them offensively, you got to keep the quarterback in the pocket. He does a phenomenal
Tough quarterback,
job.
right?
Yeah, last year, debatable whether he could have been the conference player of the year. I think he rushed for 1,500, threw for a little over 2,000. So he obviously can get it done in the air and on the ground. Running game, you got to be physical.
Yep.
I think they're big up front. They have some length on the perimeter with their receivers. So you got to. The biggest thing we've talked to our guys is contesting. We don't want to give up any easy throws. And the more you compete with them, the more success you'll have. And then offensively, we've got to run the ball.
Yeah.
That was the message to the offensive staff and really to the team yesterday. We've got to be a complementary football team. We've got to help the defense out whenever we're kind of backs against the wall. And I think if we can come out, and I haven't even written the keys to victory yet. I mean, that's something we'll do at 4 o'clock, and I usually do it at noon. So it starts with them, with the quarterback. If you can stop him, you can have success. Special teams, that we've got to get them cleaned up. That's my one thing. I mean, we've had a big negative special teams play go against us every single game. And so I think in all 3 phases, it's kind of cliche, and as a coach, you say offense, defense, special teams, it's all 33%. It is for us. I mean, you just look at statistically when a team has a big negative, whether a block punt, kick return for a touchdown, you usually don't win the game.
Yep.
And so we've got to get that cleaned up, and there's going to be a huge emphasis on that this week. But we're looking forward to it. Like I said, it's a great opportunity for our kids to go out there and showcase what they can do and get us a win.
Well, Coach, I know you guys are grinding hard, and big one this week, second conference game. Mm-hmm. Homecoming, ladies and gentlemen, this week, homecoming week, concluding with the football game on Saturday. We have a 2 o'clock kickoff against the Waldorf Warriors. So if you don't have plans or if you can get out here for a little bit, big weekend all weekend. Again, Hall of Fame dinner, Friday night, a bunch of activities, Saturday morning leading up to the game. And Coach, good luck to you. It's going to be an awesome crowd. Hopefully we can get it done, but we appreciate you taking the time to come chat with us this morning.
Thank
and good luck Saturday.
Thank you.